Hey gang, it's Paul with Stud Pack. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Stud Pack Dream House build. I know what you're thinking already. Stud Pack, where have you been? It's been 6 days since your last video, and you guys promised us 2-3 videos a week, and you should be making 4. So Stud Pack, are you guys slacking on us? Are you on the lake? Are you on the golf course? I can promise you I'm not on the golf course. I haven't picked up a golf club in 8 months.
Because you're bad.
I suck. But we can assure you of this, we've been working very, very hard. And this we know for certain. Building a house like this, from the ground up, 3 guys, DIY, first time ever, it's really, really challenging. It's not the physical part of the job that's challenging. We love doing that. We love throwing on our Diamondback tool bags and getting stuff done. What is difficult? The logistics. That's why these big companies have guys and girls, and that's all they do. What's all this logistics I'm talking about? Let's take this steel beam over my head, for example. If you saw that video, you know how challenging it was for us to get it. I spent 2 days on the phone, 2 days online, just trying to find a company in Houston that would sell a lowly contractor 1 piece of steel. We finally were successful, but once we knew we could go pick it up, I couldn't put it on my truck. They wouldn't deliver. We had to find a company locally that would rent us a trailer. We found that, rented the trailer, drove to Houston, paid for it, then they cut it, then we loaded it up, drove it back here, unloaded, brought the trailer back, and that took 3 days. On the 4th day, we drilled it, attached our ledgers, our nailers for the drywall, and on the 5th day, finally, got somebody over here and put it in place.
And we had to find somebody to bring it over here.
Yeah, we did.
That was a thing in and of itself, right?
It was.
Yeah.
And Jordan, you spent what, about $1,500 on that beam, right? That's the beam, the trailer, and Doug, who came over here with his skid steer and lifted it into place and saved our backs. Now a contractor, a big time contractor, they're just gonna make a call and get it done, but it's probably gonna be $3,000 or $4,000. And that's what we're trying to do it ourselves and save all that money. So it takes longer. And speaking of money, a lot of you have been asking about our budget for the project and what we spent so far. So that's another video that Jordan's working on behind the scenes and trying to get all the numbers together so we can share that with you. And that steel beam is just one example. It seems like everything we do here is a little bit more complicated than usual. It's because of Jordan's crazy ideas. He gets that from me. So when you put us in the same room together, we come up with some pretty wild stuff. But I think half the fun is trying to implement that wild stuff as simply as we can. Check it out over here. Look at all these boxes. That's 2 or 3 days of us upstairs and online trying to figure out the ductwork. Now, if you've been watching our channel, I know what you're thinking. Stud Pack, you have mini splits. There is no ductwork. That's what I'm talking about. We made it complicated. But if there's one thing we've learned for sure on this project, is that sometimes you have to hire the professionals, throw up your hands, and wave the white flag. Please help. And so we waved the white flag on the lighting design for this project. Jordan's got some crazy ideas. What am I talking about? And how hard can it be to light a garage apartment? Just imagine the Las Vegas Strip and the MSG Sphere, or downtown Tokyo, or Disneyland, and put that all in this house, and totally controllable. But it's done in a way that's completely classy and it's gonna look great. But do we know how to do that? Absolutely not. And that's when we threw up the white flag. So I was riding around in my truck, getting stuff for the project, and I was listening to the Fine Home Building podcast. Big shout out to Patrick and the gang, love that show. They had a guest on there from lightcanhelpyou.com, Mr. David Wartell. And the podcast was so interesting, I listened to it twice. And after I listened to it the second time, it completely changed the way that I think about lighting an interior in an exterior space of a home. And I knew they were the guys that we needed to help us with this project. So we reached out to them and they have been unbelievable. Renderings, drawings, and a comprehensive plan for this space. But like we said earlier, nothing on this project is simple or ordinary. Just take the simple toilet in the bathroom, for example. So if everything else is complicated, why should the lighting be simple? Well, Light Can Help You is finished with the plans. Here's our roadmap for the lighting. Let's get started. So let's get right to work. Here are the 2 pages for the lighting plan on the 2nd floor. One of them is the lighting plan. It shows us what type of fixture goes where with precise measurements. And the other one is a zone layout. Basically our wiring diagram and how they are all switched. And the zone layout is going to be really useful as we get into more and more of our wiring. So how are we going to make this work? We have this cathedral ceiling, and we have all these measurements to transfer up there, and that's going to be really difficult. We don't have long ladders, we just have our rolling scaffold. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this plan, just like it is here, and we're going to lay it out exactly on the floor, which is going to be really easy because all those numbers are on the plan. For instance, we're going to have a chalk line right here, and on that chalk line, we're going to have, boom, a 4-inch light, boom, another 4-inch light, a mono light, boom, 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 all the way down. And we're going to mark those with spray paint. And then, just for example, if this is the center of a light, we're going to take our dot laser and transfer it straight up. And we're going to do that for all the lights on this line. So we're going to be guaranteed that they're going to be in a straight line on the ceiling. The other really cool thing that does for us, we have our box locations mapped out on the floor. So if our drywall guys miss a box, we can tell from the floor, and we'll be able to tell them exactly where that box is because we located it off the floor with our laser. That's going to be really cool. So as you guys can see, we have a lot of laying out to do. So I say we grab a tape measure, a chalk line, and a pencil, and we're going to lay out 3 chalk lines. This one right here with all those, another one on the other side kind of mirrors that, and then a little one right here for this bathroom wall. Let's grab our tools, get to work, can't wait. All right, guys, we just laid out 15 lights on the ground in a matter of minutes. And now to preserve them so we don't scuff it up with our shoes and lose this red mark, I'm going to spray it with some clear. We're going to do that to all of them. And then we're going to spray a circle around them, color-coded depending on the type of fixture. So we might use orange for this one, the little halo light, and we might use red for the other one. Just going to help us out in the long run. And there we go, guys. Really easy, really simple, and really valuable in the future if a box gets covered by the drywall crew. So we're actually going to start running our wires now. We're going to start with the green circles. That's our mono point. Nice little swivel head fixture that's going to shine on this wall and 2 over here on the bathroom wall. So you're going to come in. We've got a 3-gang switch box. One of these switches is going to be for those mono points. We'll start here, run a switch leg up. Probably start right here with our very first one. We're going to put blocking and a metal octagonal box to hang the fixture from right here. Go to the next one, pick up the 3rd one, go to the other side, catch those 2. We're done with mono points. Let's get started. All right, guys, I'm looking at the 15 paint circles we put on the ground that indicate all of our light fixtures, and I'm just wondering, are any of those going to land on one of our trusses? I mean, it's highly likely, right? It's definitely possible. In fact, I think it's definitely going to happen. Let's pull out the laser and check it out. All right, guys, got my nice PLS5 dot laser here. We turn it on, get it on the X marks the spot. Check our ceiling. Perfect, right in the middle, no problem. All right, let's go over here. This one lines up with the fan box, so it should be okay. Nice, plenty of room around there. We're cutting a 4-inch hole, that's what we need. 2-inch radius of clearance. One more, let's check this one. All right, guys, we are done moving lights, and if you can believe it, we had to move 6 out of our 15 fixtures. 6 divided by 15 is 400. If your favorite MLB player's batting 400, you are buying their jersey. Speaking of buying jerseys, head on over to bunkerbranding.com and cop you some Stud Pack merch. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is it so bad if that dot hits the truss? Well, let's talk about the orange circles first. Those are going to get a light by our good friends at Halo, similar to this. Now, we've installed a bunch of the thin wafer lights. Those work great on a flat ceiling, but check out this guy. It's got a gimbal inside, and no matter what the slope of our ceiling is, we can point that straight down, which is what you want. And we needed to move our light locations just a couple of inches to get clearance for this housing. So now we know we're good for all 10 of the orange circles, which is represented by this light. Now let's talk about the green circles. Now the green circles are a mono point fixture also by our good friends at Halo, and they need to mount to a junction box that's in the wall, of course, at an angle. Now where the laser dot hit the truss, I could have used a pancake box, a very thin one. The reason I don't like to use that is because they are only rated for one cable. I got all these lights to chain together, so I'd rather have all the room that this box provides me. So now that we know we can install all 5 of our octagonal metal boxes, let's head up on the scaffold and figure that one out. All right, guys, we're downstairs where it's a little brighter, and we're at the table saw doing electrical work. How come? Well, just bear with me. Check this out. We are using octagonal metal boxes to hang 5 of our fixtures on that slope ceiling. So we need something to mount them to. And it gives you these mounting holes, but typically you're gonna put it against something like that, and these 2 screws are part of the integral clamps, which I really like, but when you try to mount it onto something, those screws get in the way. So we ripped some 2x4s, the distance between the screws, 2 5/8, so we can mount it that way, and we don't have to worry about those pesky screws ever again. Now, for you electricians out there, I already know what you're thinking. What about the ground screw? Well, that's true. The ground screw goes in this tap hole or that one, but it will be easy enough to drill into this soft pine when we're doing the wiring and make a clearance hole. It's done all the time. Let's install some lights, dude. I'm ready. This seems like a little more sketchy when you're inside. I don't know why.
Yeah. Careful.
My glasses got caught. Woo. All right. Enough of that foolishness. All right, bud, give me your laser beam up here. All right, first thing we're gonna do is cut our blocks to length. So I'm gonna be up here measuring, and you can go downstairs and cut 5 times.
Sound good?
Get you some leg workout in today. You ready to catch?
Yep.
All right, guys, we have our block cut to length and have it friction fit between our 2 trusses. We have our dot laser on our mark that we made inside our green circle on the floor. There's the other end. Grab my pencil and put a mark right in the middle. And this one's easy. I know the light's over there, but I'm just gonna mark a left and a right in case that mark were in the middle or close to the middle, and I flip it around. Now we're off our layout. All right, Jordan, where's that square I brought up? All right, guys, here's our center line of the box. Now, I don't have a hole in the box, so I can see that center line. So we made this line and this line 1 7/8 from this one. Now all I have to do is center the box between those 2 lines, just like that. Now we can put our screws in there, attach the box to the block, and then attach the block to our studs. Are you not listening? All right, guys, we just used an 1.5" cabinet screw by GRK to attach the box to our block. Plenty strong enough to hold up those halo monopoint fixtures. Now it's time to put it between our 2 trusses and secure it for good. So am I gonna put the laser beam in the bottom of the box? I'm not, because here's what's gonna happen. When we go to put in our halo lights and drill that 4-inch hole, we're gonna use the bottom of the drywall as our reference. We're gonna use our laser just like we're using now, make a point on the drywall and drill a 4-inch hole. So the bottom of this box must also line up with the same reference. If I put it there, the box is too far this way towards the stairs and it won't line up. So we need a reference surface here that mimics the surface of our drywall. I just happen to have a round cover plate. I've marked the center. We're just gonna snap it on here. So now I've got the round cover plate on the octagonal box, and check this out. I can just move it up or down like that. X marks the spot, and that's where we attach it.
And you want this to be 5/8 out.
Correct. And so
Yeah.
that's actually our next step. We're gonna mark a line here on our truss so we can put it on our line and put our screws in. That way we're not trying to hold up a tape measure and all that.
How are you gonna do that?
I actually have my, good question. I actually have my Klein square already set to that number. It's gonna vary depending on the thickness of your box and the thickness of your drywall. That is our measurement. We'll hook it right there, make a line, and now put the bottom of our block on that line, dial it into the laser, screw it in, and we're all done. Kind of a lot of work to guarantee that this is on our layout, but it's accurate, it's pretty fast, and we know we're gonna be right on our line. And it's gonna look great when all the lights are on and they're in a perfect line.
That's the world I'm living in.
That's the world you're living in.
That finished look.
All right, we're on our center. We got this side screwed already. I'm gonna pull my block down on this side. Done. It's that easy, guys.
Oh.
We got 3 left, and then we're ready to run. And then we're ready to run some. We got 3 left, then we're ready to run some cable. toughest, right? It's cool.
Yep.
Nice gentle sweeps, loops. 2 more. All right, guys, it's so cool to start seeing some electrical boxes attached to our trusses for our future lighting. Those were really easy to install. Can't wait to see the final product. Now it's time to start running some wiring, but first, why don't you join me up on the scaffold and I'm going to show you the fan box I put in way at the peak, and we're going to show you that block I made to make the drywall guy's job a lot easier. Let's head upstairs. All right, guys, it's a little tight up here, so sorry for the close quarters. Why is my hat on backwards?
Because you look sick.
I look sick? Oh, my brim kept hitting that when I was working over there. All right, here's our fan-rated box. We always do that, and Jordan's got an awesome fan picked out. We can't wait to show you guys that. I always pull 2 switch legs in here, so this is a 14-3. Could pull a 12-3, but we're on a 15-amp circuit, and it gives us options, right? If I have a separate fan and a separate light, I can control them individually. A lot of modern fans don't require that. Now it's attached to this guy, kind of an I shape or an H shape, and I made that so we have a nice flat spot for the box. I couldn't put it here at the peak. I needed something flat, so I made this out of some scraps. Let's run some Romex. We're going to start over there for our recessed cans. We'll run that switch leg first all the way down to our box. Then we'll run the mono points, and then we're going to hop in the bathroom and wire those. All right, gang, we've got all the wiring run for all the lights in the ceiling of the main room. There are 15 lights up there. 10 of them are the sloped halo cans that we'll wire in later after the drywall's done. And 5 of them are the mono points that will attach to the junction boxes. Everything comes back over here. So when you come upstairs, open this door, you'll have a switch box. It all looks a mess right now, but don't worry. We're going to get all this cleaned up. Our focus right now is just getting on all the wiring run. So we've got our switch leg for our mono points, switch leg for the snap-in halos, and our switch leg for the fan all coming right here. So our next step, we're going to tackle the bathroom. Let's walk all the way over here. You're going to come into the bathroom. The door is going to open this way. Switch is right here. The lighting designs call for 3 4-inch halo cans in the slope ceiling that we can point straight down. We've laid out all 3. These 2 are not in the middle of the room. They're actually a little favoring this wall, so it's in the traffic pattern. And the one in the shower, of course, is in the middle of the shower. All those will be on one switch. Now we're gonna have a cool soffit detail. Never seen anything like it. Jordan and I were talking about it just before we did this clip. There'll be a light in that soffit detail. There'll be LED lights in that soffit detail. And our exhaust fan will also be in there, pulling the air silently and discreetly around that soffit detail and out the building on the other side. Can't wait to see what that is. We have this 20-amp circuit, dedicated circuit right here, and that's for the heat in the bathroom. We were thinking just a regular wall-mounted or ceiling-mounted heater, but now we're thinking maybe doing some floor heat. This gives us some options. Let us know in the comments what you think. Should we do some floor heat in here, in the bathroom, and also in the floor of the shower? Or just a simple wall heater or a ceiling-mounted heater? Be curious to know what you guys think. But our panel install's coming up real soon, so let's get all this wiring done so those guys aren't waiting on us. All right, gang, we are working our way around the room. I started there behind Jordan in the kitchen. I'm working my way this way, and I came to this 3-gang box right here. And this one just happens to be right by the bridge location that's going to connect this second floor to the second floor of the main house. And we have 3 switches in there, and we're going to wire it for you. Don't worry, it's going to be quick, but it's always good to have a box termination refresher. Now we have 3 switches in there, a 3-gang box. How do we lay them out? We're going to lay them out according to the design of the room. If I'm facing this way, I'm facing the box. The first switch is going to be the sconces on this wall. The middle switch is going to be the bridge in front of me, and the right-hand switch is going to be the lights on this side. That way when you're in here, you're not like trying to figure out which switch is which, and you're flipping them all. So our goal right now is to make this mess look nice and organized, just like this one down here. And I've kind of already started up here. Get this, Jordan? I've got my cables routed down the wall, and I like them nice, flat, and even. I don't like them twisted, I don't like them overlapping each other, and I do that as often as I can. Then I came down here, and I laid them out in the order of the switches that I talked about just a minute ago. So this one is the sconces, this one is the bridge, and this one is the cathedrals.
And that requires you to know all of that ahead of time, right? You got everything labeled?
Right, exactly. So for instance, if I just did it without thinking about that, and the sconce wires ended up here, but the switch was over here, We've all been in a box like that where everything's crossing. Try to minimize that as much as we can. I also put a little mark on there with a Sharpie, and that's where I'm going to strip the sheathing. That way I have a 1/4 inch of sheathing past the clamp inside the box, which is required by code. So I'm going to start with my first wire. Here's my sconce switch leg. So now it's time to cut the cable, and I use my strippers as a guide. I've got my Sharpie mark right there. Put the tip on that mark. Use my left thumb on the bottom of the wire, and that's where I'm going to cut. Use the same strippers to strip the sheathing. And I'll do the next two. We'll keep wiring this box. All right, guys, we got one more cable to run in there, and it's 14.3. These Klein strippers don't work on 14.3, so I'm going to grab them back, make a mark. We're going to cut it. Use a knife to cut the sheathing. Go old school on this one. I don't go all the way through. I just score it. Then when I get to the end, now I go all the way through. I can peel that back, and it'll split right on the line where I cut it. Grab my strippers again, cut the sheathing, pull all this paper back, and we are ready to go. And look how much wire I've got to make up this box. Show you a few tips on that. Now let's get these wires inside the box. And again, I put the wires behind the switch where they're going to go. This is for our cathedral lights. This is my 2 travelers for the switch by the main door. So I'm going to put it, because it's a three-way. I'm going to put it here. 2 travelers coming in. Here's my switch leg going up to the cathedral lights. That all goes together. Here is hot for the box. I need to power the sconce switch and the bridge light switch. So I'm going to come in on the bottom left corner. Let's put those in, go to our next step. All right, first thing I do, gang, if it's not a ground wire, I push it up on top of the box like that. And I bring all my grounds down. Get everything out of my way. And I'm being careful not to twist them in the box, don't want anything crossed. Just makes it easier to put everything in the box later. And got that one and that one. And you kind of see how I was working those so they didn't cross. I've got 5 cables. There's my 5 grounds. So now what I do, or what I don't do, I don't just grab them all and put them together, because then it's really difficult to get all that in the box. You can do it, but what I do, I pre-fold. So I'm going to send everything over to the left, like that. Then it's one nice bend to the right to tuck all those wires back in there. Now what happens, of course they're all going to be different lengths now, but that's fine, right? We're just going to cut them off to the shortest wire, which is these 2. Save as much wire as you can. Now they're all the same length, easy to connect, and easy to put in the box. Let me go grab the wire nut or the fitting I want to put on there. We're going to show you how we terminate all these wires. All right, guys, there's all my 5 ground wires cut to length. Now, can I just connect them together? Well, not really, right? Because I have 3 switches in here, all which need to be grounded. So I have another ground wire I'm going to put in that bundle, in that twist of wires, just like that. And now I can pigtail off of this one to each of my 3 switches. Much easier to tie into this single ground than it would be to tie into this 5, because then you'd have 8 wires all together. It's just the way I was taught. So how are we going to connect these? I'm just going to grab my lineman pliers. I'm going to give them a twist. Boom. I got this mess on the end. Just cut it off. Still got plenty of wire to work with. So I'm going to connect all those with a crimp ring and this Buchanan crimper. Had this thing forever. This is what I used in California to make up all my grounds, and I'm going to use it here. A lot of guys aren't going to have this tool. I don't even know if you can buy it anymore. But I love it, and it's very small, right? I don't have a big wing nut taking up room in the box. And now I can just push that all the way to the back. My grounds are done.
Nice.
All right, guys, we are gaining on it. We got our neutrals done. Again, pre-folded, then cut, then stripped, then terminated in a 5-slot Wago. Really appreciate the team at Wago for hooking us up with all the Wagos for this project. It took me a long time to switch to those, but I absolutely love them. They are a game changer for me on the electrical side. Another game changer, I finally made the switch to automatic strippers. I knew I'd be stripping thousands of wires here at Jordan's house. Got kind of tired of these, and the Wagos have a certain strip gauge on them, like most things. You can dial in the depth right here, go to town. Love these things. I can do a box in just a few minutes if we're not filming it.
Right.
So let's start over here on the right. These are my 2 travelers for the cathedral lights.
What's a traveler?
I got a 3-way switch here, a 3-way switch by the front door. In one position it's on, and the other it's off. Everybody knows how three-way switches work. They communicate by these two, and they're called the travelers. These three will all go together. In fact, I can do that right now. Let me grab my little label. This one is for our halo lights. Those are our cathedral lights. I'm going to slip it over there. That way, when we come back to wire the box and put the switches in, I'm not trying to remember what is what. And in this house, every little bit of knowledge is going to help me. So it's going to look something like that. All right, that takes care of the three-way switch for our halo lights. The middle one is the lights in this bridge right here that's going to connect to the main house. The other three-way switch is going to be in the main house. They have to communicate. So that's what these two are. Those are our two travelers. And the one on the left is just a single pole switch for the sconces between the big windows here in the room. But both of these switches need power. So I've got two jumpers made up in a little 3-slot Wago. I'm just going to put it right on there. Close that. Done, gang. I've got hot for the sconces, hot for those. All our wires are in the box. Let me get them tucked in there. We'll show you our very next step. All right, guys, got my box completely wired, sconce, bridge lights, halo lights, everything's labeled, tucked back far enough so the drywall router won't damage the wires. And as you guys may have noticed, it's pretty dark in here. It's gloomy outside, it's daylight savings time, the sun goes down at 5:30, and sometimes we're working late. A lot of times, Jordan's making me work late. So we need some light in here, and that's what those two wires are for. I've got a temporary power cord right here, already lined up with some Wagos. This is unplugged, right, Jordan? Snap the hot on. Now check this out. We're going to give power to that circuit. Look at that. We've got two 6-inch cans, one 4-inch over there from another project. Now we can work up here till midnight, right, Jordan? And we won't bother a soul and have plenty of light. Absolutely love it. And it gives this place a whole new feel, right? Yep. Starting to feel like a house. Now that we can see what we're doing, there's one feature of this box that I don't see used often enough. It's this little flange on the other side. And let me use this 2x4 as a straight edge. Look how that box is diving back into the stud bay. Take yourself a little block, put it behind the flange. It's going to push that box out so it's nice and flush with your drywall or whatever finished surface you're going to have. And it's also going to give a lot of support on the outside of this box when I'm putting that switch in.
Cool.
So we'll put this on, and I don't need to put any screws or anything. Just a couple right here in the flange, and that's enough to hold it. Let's finish that, Jordan. Keep working on these boxes. Alrighty, gang, it's like 4 or 5 days later. We spent all that time, well, almost all of it, running more wire, more home runs, and installing some more boxes so we can complete the lighting plan that we went through a little bit earlier in the video. We're not going to bore you with every single box, but we do want to take you on a walkthrough of the apartment and the garage, show you what we did. It's going to be really fast, promise. We're going to start right here, dedicated outlet for the wall-mounted pressure washer. Another dedicated convenience outlet. Got a 20 amp outlet here for the washer dryer. That's all we need. It's a 20 amp condensing dryer, so that's all we need to remember. That's going to be temporary because he's going to have a huge laundry room in the main house. More home runs, power on this wall, so we don't have to worry about plugging anything in. Got a receptacle here for the water heater. Another one over here for a future water filter if we decide to go that way. And you will notice we got low voltage boxes on the bottom. That's for our beam, right, to stop the garage door. We got one up top, so we are going to be having a wall-mounted garage door opener, right? Yep. No more overhead track. Garage door opener will go right here and turn the shaft directly. Nice and quiet, so we have 120 volts to power that, and all our low voltage for our door controller and our laser beam down here.
Why did we want a track?
Oh, good question. You picked out this awesome hex lighting, right?
Yep.
Looks like a big hex board LED. It's going to be suspended from the ceiling of a big section on this side of the steel I-beam and another one over there. So we didn't want a garage door in the middle of that. The tracks for these will hang down, sure, but we didn't want the opener there in the middle. So that's going to be awesome. Come on over here. Got a convenience outlet in the garage. I didn't make that up because I'm going to feed that box, come out, feed the box on the outside, and continue right here. We're going to show you all that later. We're going to make a whole video just on all the exterior electrical because we have some cool ideas and some cool products to show you. So don't miss that. Got convenience outlets in here, our electrical room. Of course, this is where our main panel is going to be. Gets installed in 2 days. Can't wait to show you that. And a simple light switch right there. Oh, and all this over here, what's this? This is solar. The MC is coming down from the panels on the roof. This cable is going across to the electrical disconnect for the firemen outside.
What's that guy?
So that guy, a lot of thought went in behind this single receptacle. Wouldn't you say, Jordan?
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have motion sensor LED lighting on the stair treads, and this is gonna power that whole thing. I sure hope you got that figured out, because I can't wrap my head around it, bud. All right, back here in the garage, boom, another convenience outlet, 1, 2. Then we come up here to a 3-gang switch. You can see I've got everything labeled. These are the sconces on the exterior, the front, on either side of the garage door. This one is the hex lighting I was talking to you about, and this is the stairway lighting. Got 3 switches for the stairway. One here, if you're coming in here, another one here, if you're coming in from the house, and one at the top. So that was a lot of wiring just in that alone.
What about this orange guy?
That is for your 2 garage doors. We got low voltage to the front, low voltage to the back. You can open them right there, or I'm sure they make some cool LED panel now, right?
Cool.
Over here, same thing, low voltage for the garage door, convenience outlet, and anytime you see something like this, it's gonna be on the outside. These 2 14-2s just happen to be for the sconce that's gonna go right here. Kind of waiting on that because the sconce he picks out depends on the height of the box, but that's coming really quick. And while we're right here, let's talk about all this on the outside. This 6.3 is gonna be an emergency panel in the house. This whole garage apartment building will be on an emergency generator, and we can have like 8 circuits in the house. Take care of the refrigerator, Jordan's office, little things like that.
Because if we have like a hurricane, we want to keep uploading that content, baby.
Got to.
Yeah.
This big boy, this 4-aught, that is power to the main house from the 200 amp service that we showed you earlier, or the 200 amp breaker we showed you earlier on the other side of the garage. And what is this? That's due to all your comments. This is the water line that's going to feed the garage from the house. It's PEX, so I covered it to protect it from the UV light. So I really appreciate those comments. All right, let's head upstairs. Just imagine these treads lighting up as I walk up. That's gonna be like Star Wars stuff,
It's gonna be
right?
sick.
Yep. All right, what do we have up here? Smoke detectors at the top of the stairway. This will be a light at the top of the stairway. And this guy, these all go together. This feeds the light at the bottom of the stairs. We're gonna come into the upstairs apartment. Got a 3-gang box right here. This one was pretty fun to put in. And what do we got? I already forgot, Jordan. Stairs, your halo lights.
Right.
And your spotlights.
Cool.
A lot going on in there, and also the feed for the fan. The big fan you bought,
Right.
It's getting powered from here. That's gonna be Wi-Fi on your phone. Let's continue to walk around. We got 3 receptacles on this wall, 2 convenience down low, 1 up high for the TV. Look how nice and neat all the cables are. Absolutely love it. We turn the corner, we put a receptacle here, and we also put one here. It's gonna be Jordan's temporary office. This is gonna be where he's gonna be editing for a while. So we wanted to make sure he had plenty of power to get you the videos you want. Got another 3-gang box here. Oh, okay, sconces, bridge, and the halos. So we had to have 3 wires coiled up like this, 2 up here and 1 downstairs to tie into the future house. All the smoke detectors have to be tied together in the entire structure, the entire house plan. So that's the one on the left. It'll go across the bridge roof into the main house. And then this 14.3 right here, that's lighting in the bridge. Have a switch here, and you'll have a switch in the main house. Receptacle there, receptacle here. This will be a sconce between the 2 windows on the inside. Boom, right back here, another receptacle, another sconce. These 2 sconces are gonna be beautiful. I think Jordan's gonna pick out something like one shining up and one shining down.
Yeah.
Or one shining up and one shining down. That's gonna be cool. And that ends like the living room side.
Right.
Now we get into the kitchen. Dedicated circuit for the fridge. Dedicated circuit, kitchen small appliance circuit number 1. Dedicated circuit, again, small appliance circuit number 2. This is for a 2-burner induction cooktop, just needs a 20 amp circuit, that's what that's for. 2 burners is all Jordan needs. He just boils water basically. We have a microwave, we'll have an oven. This will be for all the LED lighting. This will power all the LED lighting in the kitchen. Toe kick, under cabinet, and over cabinet. We're almost done. Switches here for the kitchen lights. Coming into the bathroom, a lot going on in here. Got a little bit left to do. Under vanity lighting power, lighted mirror power, dedicated circuit at the vanity. Here's the circuit for the toilet. We had to pull a dedicated 20 amp for that because the toilet seat actually heats the water. It has a heater, pulls 1500 watts.
The seat is heated and the water's heated.
Oh my gosh. So that's why we need a 20 amp circuit.
Right.
We come up here, we're gonna have on the ceiling, 3 4-inch halo cans. Cool soffit detail. We've been talking about that, planning it. Can't wait to show you. This metal box right here, dedicated 20 amp. We decided to put floor heat in the tile. It's gonna be cold up here. Tile seems to always be cold, right, Jordan?
Yep.
So I can't wait to try that out. And then of course here, just the fan, the exhaust fan, and the lights. And this one will feed the porch. We will have an exterior receptacle on the upstairs and the downstairs outside, as well as one in the front. And as you saw, we have all our boxes mounted up top for our mono points and all the wiring run for our 10 4-inch halo cans. These 3 lights we have temporarily give a ton of light in here. Again, can't wait to see the final lighting. And we also have a few circuits up there for the ERV, smoke detectors for upstairs, all that kind of stuff. A lot of thought had to go into all this wiring, gang. So glad it's done. All right, guys, so that's our brief electrical tour. We hope you enjoyed it, and we are chipping away at this thing. Most other builds, they'd probably be what, moving in by now, Jordan, right? Yeah. But this is our first time, and we want to make sure all the electrical, all the plumbing, all the HVAC is done before installation arrives and before we drywall. There was a lot to think about, and I think we got it all. And so when we take these week hiatuses, gang, we are working hard behind the scenes for all the content coming up. And remember these boxes right here? I think this is at least 3 videos right here, Jordan, right? Yeah. That could happen immediately because we are ready. We got everything we need on site, and I absolutely love that. So grab yourself some cable, whether it's 14-2, 12-2, low voltage, 4-aught, whatever you got on hand. Run it to your like button, smash it for us. We really appreciate that. Please subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at StudPackOfficial. Don't forget our merch. Check it out. Bunkerbranding.com makes a great Christmas present. Thanks for watching. We had a blast making this video for you. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you right back here on the very next Stud Pack video.